65% of communication belongs to nonverbal and 35% belongs to verbal communication. That's one thing I never understood back in the day, my early college years when I used to work in a call center, because all that matters is what I said and also the tone of voice. So most of the times when you're calling a call center and you're trying to make a payment on your phone or anything like that, you really can't see the person, so it's really hard to understand how they're communicating physically. Now, just so you guys know, most of the time when we're actually talking to customers, we might be playing catch with a stress ball, we might have our arms crossed, we might be laying back. A lot of people really don't know that. It's because you guys can't really see us, right? So after that, I went ahead and transferred to a car dealership, Nissan dealership right here in Wichita, Texas, in new car sales. And I had a really hard time trying to actually sell to my customers because I had my call center customers. All I did was just say what I wanted to say, but I didn't really communicate physically to my customers. So for example, I always said what training said, I always shouted at my other coworkers, but I never seemed to work out. All my customers just ran away for some reason. I never knew why. Until one day my manager actually approached me. He actually said that I had to loosen up a bit. I didn't maintain eye contact, okay? Because I always looked kind of stressed, desperate, and I was always in a hurry. And I always walked fast, and all that was kind of like a mess. So during the time, I actually improved my physical, nonverbal communication skills into hand gestures, mannerisms, eye contact, tone of voice, and it did come out better through the time. So a few fake news, like I mentioned before, maintain eye contact with only one group in the audience, okay? That's totally false. You gotta look everywhere while you're presenting. Shift sides while presenting, going back and forth, that's something we want to try to avoid while we're presenting as well. And distract the audience with small actions, cracking your knuckles, things like that. Now, a few things that we do want to follow, for example, is vary the intensity of our voice throughout the whole presentation, maintain a straight posture, and also use hand gestures throughout the whole entire presentation as well. Now, while we're communicating with the audience or even our customers while we're selling, for example, sometimes it could be there could be a contradiction because we're trying to say something, but our body expresses something else. So, for example, if I'm talking with a customer, what they're telling me doesn't make any sense, right? Sometimes you might squint your eyes, and it might come across like whatever they're saying doesn't make any sense, and it might be uncomfortable. For example, the first day of class, Dr. K mentioned that if we're talking to him, he might squint his eyes, and he actually explained it so that he's trying to focus. Because, for example, if he didn't explain that, we might understand that what we're trying to say is not making any sense at all. Okay? This right here is just a few examples on how we shouldn't, and also how we should behave while we're communicating. So, for example, the example right here in the middle is just a confident posture. The guy looks confident, and we would trust that person if we actually walk in a dealership or any other place in order to make a purchase. Now, the person right here on the right is insecure and arrogant. So if I'm a salesperson, I might maintain that posture. You guys might feel a little insecure about myself because I might come across like I really don't have any idea what I'm talking about, for example. This guy right here is clearly lying, so that also might come across, right? I mean, we don't have the best reputation in the business. I understand that. So that's why we really have to maintain and keep an eye out on how we communicate physically. Okay, so I'm going to pass it on to Namita, who's going to keep on talking about the decoration.
Yes. Does anyone have a cute office space that they currently have and they want to talk about the cute things they put in it to make it cute? Yes.
Draw little octopus on like sheets of receipts at my bank, just for fun, and I keep it there.
I like octopi. That is cute. Yeah, so we're going to talk about how you decorate your workspace and how to keep it clean because that will tie into your executive presence. And so, fake news, the things you should not do is keep your space cluttered and be like, it's my desk. It is your desk, but you want to make sure that it's not cluttered because if you have a clean workspace, you just tend to get more done. You know where things are, you don't lose things or misplace things. You also don't want to bring things that are heavily scented, so candles, any scent diffusers, because you don't know what someone's allergic to or what someone can get irritated by. And if you have a boss that is allergic to orchids and you have an orchid-scented scent diffuser, your boss is going to hate you, and that's not a fun life. And you also don't want to have no decor at all. It's not 100% that you have to have decor, but if you have a little bit of something, it kind of adds to your personality a little bit, and then you're just more approachable and people want to talk to you. You have completely gray walls, people won't necessarily want to come in and talk to you, and you won't maintain that good relationship with your coworkers as well. And then some real news is you want to decorate with things that show your credibility. So this includes your college diplomas, any awards that you've gotten, so people can see that when they walk in and they're a bit impressed and they know who they're talking to and not to mess around with you. You also want to use pictures of your family and friends just to boost the morale. So if you're having a bad day, you can kind of look at your wife or your husband, just feel a little bit better about yourself and about the day. And you also want to use bright colors. So because you can't dress necessarily in neon colors, you can have a little pops of neon in your space to keep you attentive and awake. So this is an example of an efficient workspace. You want to have your phone on hand really close to you so that you can pick up calls, important calls, you know who you're talking to. You also want to have a white space next to your dominant hand so that if anyone does come in with an important document, you can quickly sign that off. You want to make sure you don't get too personal. So I said it's good to have photos, but you don't want it completely papering your whole wall. You want to have some good white space in there just to keep everything balanced. And you want to file things, keep things organized. Make sure you use a planner, make sure you use your file cabinet so you know where to find things. You don't lose things when you have an important meeting. And lastly, we're going to talk about the effects of clutter. So clutter can really derail your career. According to the Harvard Business School, they did a study that 28% of employers are less likely to promote someone if they have a cluttered workspace. This includes, like, even if your stats are good, if you have a cluttered workspace, they may pass on you. Secondly, people who are compulsive hoarders miss an average of 7 days of work per year. So 7 more days than the average person. So you want to make sure that you are not a hoarder, keep your workspace clean. And lastly, everyone knows that clutter decreases your productivity because you tend to misplace things and you tend to lose things. So don't keep your desk cluttered. It'll be good for you, it'll be good for your worker, for your boss, it'll be good for your future prospects moving up in the company and getting promoted. So that was channel 5, and we officially have gone through all of the channels. I'm going to move it on to Dakota to close it out for you all.
So tonight during our newscast, we went over 5 key things you can do in order to improve your executive presence. Things to avoid and things that you should emphasize. The first one considered how we act and how it has an impact on the perception others have of us. The second thing we spoke to was how we speak and how we can avoid bad habits and choose to increase good habits. The third thing we went into was how we dress and present ourselves in the way that not only makes us confident, but the people who perceive us think we're confident. The fourth thing was how we make gestures and use our body language. And then the last thing was how the way we organize our space also exudes executive presence. We want to thank you for listening to our presentation tonight, and I hope that you have a few takeaways. Does anyone have any questions?
Question for Whitmer. What did you learn from your experience at the dealership?
My experience?
You know, what did you learn? What was the thing that you took away from that to apply to this presentation?
Well, pretty much, like in hand gestures, eye contact. I mean, when I used to work at the call center, I didn't apply any of that because I really didn't have to. But right now, I actually apply what I do in this presentation. Like I really didn't know how important body communication was back in the day, but right now I do it every single day, so I know how important it is. So it's way much easier because I really didn't have to go over much of this. It's pretty much what I do every single day.
Cool. Does anyone have any other questions?
When you said that the hoarding led to absences, did you was it research like how that was connected? Like how if you're a hoarder you miss more work?
I'm sure it did,
Yeah.
but that's what we had. It was a study done by the Harvard Business School, so I can definitely get back to you with the link if you'd like to look into it, and it can definitely explain in greater detail.
Thank you guys.